this video is for people who actually want to achieve something, right? Have the utmost respect for your time and look at it as a commodity and the most valuable asset that you'll ever own. Ooh, imagine where you could be then. Hey, welcome to another episode of Business Beats. Lawrence here. Just a quick take episode today. Today we're going to talk about a big topic, right? What do you do in your day? Like, what do you do in your day? So this is more about productivity, efficiencies, leverage, and just getting the best use out of your time. I'm going to start with one thing. Just be cautious of time and understand what it means. And what I mean when I say that is really think deeply about what time is to you and how important it is. Because I actually think it's attached to everything, right? So it's attached to everything to do with your family, your friends, your children, your relationships, your health. Everything is attached to it. It's so critical. Everything is attached to it. It's probably the most valuable commodity that we own. More than money, more than any asset, vehicle, house, real estate deal. Time is the only thing that we have. So I think understanding that and just taking a breath around it, right? And just writing some stuff down and writing down what your day looks like, That's something that I used to do quite frequently to figure out exactly what I was doing and what my day sort of looked like. So time is connected to everything. Everything that you do in your life and your whole life is based around a certain time frame from when you're born to when you die. And in between, there's only X amount of time. So, I always think as a human being, if someone wants to answer your question, which is a pretty hard one to answer, what is the meaning for your life? Not what is the meaning in life in general. Those are two different questions. So for your life, what is that? You should think about that. The goals you want to achieve, the results, the outcome, the successes, the economics around that is all going to be done within a certain framework. When you're born to when you die. And that's it. There's nothing else. Give it the respect it deserves. When I think about what do I do in a day, it's very important to me. It should be very important to you. But first you've got to conceptualize, right? You've really got to think deeply about, okay, so what does time actually mean to me? Because once you put some respect towards it and you really unpack it and you give it the respect it sort of deserves, and it's got some weight with you. So when your mindset, you think about time a lot and that you don't want to waste it, then I think is the time to move on it and structure it accordingly. Otherwise, you're just doing it for the sake of doing it because someone told you to. You know what I mean? Or you think it's the right thing to do. But if you think about that little time that we have on this earth, what are you going to do with it, right? So entrepreneurs think like that. People who are high achievers think like that. It's about, what can I get out of my life? Because you want to get to the end of your life and think about one thing, right? When you're on your deathbed or whatever it may be. What did I do? What did I contribute? And could you look back and be happy with what you'd accomplished? Did you do enough? Or did you waste it, right? Those are some of the things that you should think about. So it's in every part of your life, and without it, you don't have one. So respect it. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about what's attached to it. Everything is attached to it, right? Economics, so the wealth of yourself to be able to support your family, to be able to have a happy lifestyle, because as I've said 100 times before, and I might sound like a broken record, but we live on an economic planet, right? So we need to get that right. And with time, you can increase those components, right? So there's, for me, 3 to 4 cycles of time. There's you're a child, right? And then you move into adolescence, then you move into adulthood. Okay, so there's definitely 3 cycles there, but then you move into later adulthood, right? So it's when you get into those senior years, which I normally think is around sort of 40 to 45, right? And then you're moving into that last phase of your life. And I think through those times you see things differently. Psychology changes. You're spending time with different people. You've got some experience and maturity behind you now. Maybe some children. You've experienced some death. So certain things will change through that progression in that box, right? That when you're born to when you die, there's certain places in that cycle where you will see time differently. And of course, I don't know, I remember when I was a kid that we sort of had all the time in the world, right? Technology's changed that, by the way, but back in the day, it was, we're just walking down the street kicking a can, right? We would walk to school, walk home, there was so much time. And as you get older, what happens is you start to see that you're running out of it, and then you start to respect it. But what I'm saying is, what if you could do it in your 20s? Have the utmost respect for your time and look at it as a commodity and the most valuable asset that you'll ever own. Ooh, imagine where you could be then. Those young, high profile or high performing entrepreneurs in their mid-20s, right? The guys who have built billion-dollar companies, they see it like that. So all I'm saying is it is connected to a lot of things. Success is certainly one of them: results, outcomes, finance, economics, wealth, health, children, family, friends, love, happiness. It's a big component of all of that. So let's tick the box on the definition of what that is, and that respect is certainly a big part of using your time well, understanding the mathematics of it and the engineering of it, right? For lack of a better term. Why is it so important? I want to talk about kids for a little bit. A lot of parents aren't going to like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Look, I'm a parent, right? So I have kids as well. I think there's a few things with people who have children that they spend too much time with their kids. You know what I mean? You got to stop cuddling your children. You've got to really get a balance between your children, your relationship with your partner, and your professional life, because all three of them need to have an element of synergy between them and balance, right? Or maybe integration is a better word, but balance is also a good word for it. Is that you're not going all in on one thing and missing out on the other thing. And by the way, your kids don't want to spend 5 hours with you on Saturday. Not if they're older. They'd rather be hanging out with their friends in their room or on their phone, right? Now, look, I know there's a whole bunch of conjecture around, kids on phones and social media and all that sort of stuff, but just remember that for now. Like, they don't want you to drag them around the shopping center. They just don't. And they certainly don't want to be hanging out with mum and dad all the time. Like, you guys some people just need to get over that. Let your kids be your kids and give them some freedom and guide them and judge them. So don't waste your time spending every second of your life looking after your children. Be present, but I'd rather spend a good quality 1 to 2 hours instead of 7 hours of boringness where the kids don't get any value out of it. So there's a couple of fallacies. So one of them with children, parents, get over it. Like, just leave your kids alone and use your time a little bit more wisely. The second part to that is friends, right? Is that some people work and hang out with their friends and then look after their kids and that's it. Well, it doesn't leave you any space for anything else. And there's more important things to just those three things. You know what I mean? I think people don't achieve the goals they don't want to achieve because I think they don't have the time to do it. But then when I look at what they do on a daily basis, which is what the SEP is about, what do you do in a day? They're just wasting time. Like, there's just a whole bunch of crap in there that they shouldn't be doing in the first place. So, this episode is about breaking that down and getting a little bit serious with it. Because if you can really leverage, right, and get some pretty cool stuff out of life. You know what I mean? Like, some people say, oh, look, I don't have time to do anything. I don't have time to start that business. Well, we all have the same amount of time, so I don't get it. And then they might say, oh yeah, but I've got 2 kids to look after. I said, well, I know I could name 20 entrepreneurs who have more than 2 kids and run 3 companies. So I don't get it. So it's just about managing time and being very well organized, right? So the other thing is family. So, kids, friends, waste of time. Well, look, I don't mean it's a waste of time. What I mean is that you need to prioritize a few things, and you don't need to spend every weekend with your friends and your children all the time. Balance it out a little bit. Like, if you wanted to start a side hustle, that requires a little bit of attention for you to go and do that. So you need to think about that and you need to schedule it, because if it's not in your calendar, it probably won't happen. Just put it in the calendar. And the kids can figure it out. They can go and hang out with their friends. You could be at home working on a project for a couple of hours while they're out the back playing. Just make sure you have a fence around the swimming pool. I don't know. But, just keep them occupied. Like, just get yourself organized so you can do that. And the kids have a great time. I go, oh, I just want to be happy. I hang out with my kids and spend time with my family and my friends. So you just want to enjoy yourself. Well, that's great. You should go and do that. But no, don't have the expectation that you're going to achieve anything great in your life, because you won't. Because that, to me, is you're just really focused on yourself. So this video is for people who actually want to achieve something, right? So you really got to break it down and think about it and be serious about it and be honest with yourself. Are you going out and drinking all weekend? What are you doing with your 2 days on the weekend? Are you just wasting it? Like, you're sleeping for 12 hours and getting up and, watching Netflix and eating corn chips. Why would you do that? And I'm not saying that you can't do that. I think you should minimize it, and you should look at it and go, okay, well look, I'll do that, but let me reward myself after I get some work done first. All right. So all I'm saying is having a little bit of respect for time, understand what it means to you. You should write that down, what's important to you as well. If you want to achieve something, put it on paper and then try and figure out how long or how much time you need to achieve that. Like, you should really break it down. I do that. I break it down. Okay, I break things down in quarters. So I go from 1 year down into quarters, so 4 quarters, and then I break them down in 12 months, and then I break them down weekly, and then I break them down daily. That's how much time I spend on managing my time. So when you write a to-do list, that's managing your time. That means you're showing respect to the time that you have on this planet, right? And I'm making sure that I spend good quality time with my girls, my family. I'm making sure I'm spending good quality time with friends. I'm making sure I'm spending enough time in my business and running a couple of the companies that I'm responsible for, because there's people in those businesses who rely on it, and my kids rely on me. So I've got to be across multiple things. So I've got to write it down, I've got to schedule it, and I've got to be respectful for that. And not only that, you need your own time. I want to go to the gym. I want to go for a run. I want to spend some time reading and researching. Listening to podcasts, going for a walk, thinking. You know what I mean? It's underappreciated time is just to sit there and think, and take notes and write things down. So that's what this is really about. What do you do in a day? It's so much more than, I just do this. I'm at work, so I'm just really busy. Yeah, but what are you doing at work? So that's sort of the first part of it. The respect part, the considered part, the write it down part, to break it down part, and then to figure out what you're doing across your main sort of verticals in professional and personal life, right? All right, so let's put that to one side. So I'm gonna run you through what I do in a day, and I'm gonna do it quickly. Let me start with business. So I'm a founder, CEO, director, whatever you want to call us, crazy people with ADHD. That's what I am. So I've got multiple doors open, doing multiple things all the time, and it's very, very constant, right? And it's very busy and it's very loud. I have a partner, I have a couple of girls, schooling and all that other stuff that I have to manage and look after. And I also have a bit of a side hustle. I do a lot of education, so a lot of little short courses, a lot of reading. So there's all this stuff going on in my business day, right? And by the way, I classify education and learning and research as part of my business day. So my business day is about thinking, research, all those things that you may not consider that you might drop into your personal. To me, that's business. So I wrap that up in my business day. So I want to take time out of my day to breathe and think about things, because I don't want to be, someone mentioned to me the other day, he says entrepreneurs get quite heady, right? And that the heart component of management, sort of, you just forget about it. So that really resonated with me, because I think I'm quite heady and I'm thinking from here and not from here. So, I think you really want to think about taking a break out of your day to think and pause for a second. You know what I mean? So just do that. So my day will consist of this. So, I normally get up around 5:30. I know Jacko Willink gets up at 4 o'clock every day. Jacko, you're a legend, man, but I'm not doing that. I'm a bit of a late worker, right? So I get up at about 5:30. I have a slow start to my morning, by the way. I don't rush. I'm not running all over the place. Up at 5:30. So I'm normally in the shower by 6:30. So that's sort of an hour. So it's a pretty good range of time just to walk around and go slow. By then, I've ironed a shirt, maybe a pair of pants, sort of figured out what the attire is for the day, and then I'm in the shower. Shower's 10 minutes. I'm in the shower, I'm out, and I'm dressed in 15, and then I'm ready to get out the door. I normally put music on in the morning. I'm an ex-musician. I was for sort of 15, 17 years of my life. So it's a big part of my life, so I love music, so I like to put a bit of music on, and then as I'm moving around the day, the girls are up doing their thing as well, so we're all sort of doing it together, and it's fun, right? And we just have a bit of fun in the morning, so I always like to start today in a good zone, right? No stress, none of that bullshit. I normally just drive to the office, takes me about 30 minutes to get a coffee on the way. From my favorite cafe, and then I'm listening to a podcast or an interview of someone, and I've got a list of interviews and things I want to get through, or maybe an audiobook. I get into the office. I normally just quickly cycle through my email first thing in the morning, delete everything that's crap, I keep everything that's good, and then I'll do a quick roundabout with the managers. So, mate, how you going? How was your weekend? How was your day? Anything you need help with, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm into my day. My day is structured, I write everything down. So I do things in normally 30-minute increments or 60-minute increments, including meetings, and then they tear out through the day. I'll have lunch about 1 o'clock. That's normally about 15 to 30 minutes. And when I'm having lunch, I do something that's not work related. So I might read an article. And the afternoon is pretty much the same. I try and stack meetings in the morning and not in the afternoon. I think there's a little bit more energy in the morning for me. And in the afternoon, I'm not as focused as the morning. I'm normally pretty good in the morning. However, I am still quite productive, just at a lower percentile, I think, than the morning. I don't eat a lot of carbs during the day, and I certainly don't carb load in the middle of the day. Otherwise, you just crash into the ground. So I sort of try and keep that to a minimum. And I'm normally out of the office probably by about 5:30. Might go to the gym for an hour, and then I'll shoot home. I normally take a couple of hours out, chill, spend some time with the kids. If they're out doing their thing, well, then I won't do that, and then I'll just pivot into getting a little bit more work done. That workload is a little bit more creative. It might be design, creative stuff for marketing, or I'm doing a little bit of research, looking at the market and just compiling things like that. It's not too heavy hitting. And look, I normally have dinner around 7:30. It's sort of light. I think my lunch meal is probably the biggest meal of the day. And then I could work till midnight. You know what I mean? 11 o'clock midnight. It's not always, but I've always got sort of a lot to do. So I tend to smash the workout because I sort of enjoy it. But what I'm doing is different types of work at different stages of the day. And it's really productive for me. I never really wake up tired. I always wake up pretty fresh. So manage your sleep well. It's so critical to get your sleep right because it affects how you process, how your brain processes the speed and efficiency of it. So you want to make sure that you got a lot of rest. So that's sort of my work day, right? I do that 5 days a week across multiple different things. I don't need to get into all of that, but that's sort of the breakup of my work day. Weekends, I'm a little bit more relaxed. I don't do a lot of work on the weekend, but I'm still working, but I'm working in other areas, a lot of reading, a lot of podcasts. On a Sunday, I've been knowing to sit there and watch interviews all day and just take notes, you know what I mean, which is really relaxing for me. So that's if there's no kids or family or friends around, I would normally do that. But say my Saturday, I'm sleeping in for an extra hour. I normally have quite a big 5 days. They're very, very chunky and a lot of production. So take a break on the weekend. Just take a break. You don't have to, go 10x every single time. So get into the day, chores, errands, take the kids around and do their thing, go out for breakfast, have some lunch, pick up some stuff, drop some stuff off, dry cleaning, whatever it may be. It's just errands in a pretty light day. You know what I mean? I might just do random stuff like that. Go get some groceries. It's nothing heavy. And on Saturday, we normally just sit there as a family, maybe watch a movie, just sort of mess around. Or maybe there's an event or a dinner or a barbecue or a party to go to, right? So, and Sunday, I get a little bit more focused, an easy morning. But on Sunday, I might smash out a bit of work and get prepared for the week or do an assessment of the previous week. And I do a little bit of work on the Sunday. So I probably work about 6 days a week or 5.5 days a week and 1.5 days downtime. Love to go to the beach, have a swim in the ocean, go to the gym and do all that sort of stuff, right? Just all that sort of normal stuff. So that's sort of me in a nutshell. Like that's sort of, that's the thing for me, you know what I mean? And that's sort of my routine. And it's not complicated, it's very simple. The weekend's not my high production stuff, and it shouldn't be. You do need to take a little bit of a break. I'm not going to say you're going to burn out, we're not candles, but you want to watch the headiness and have some heart into that as well. I think that's really important. So that's what I do. You should think about what you do and you should break down your day. I use a calendar. I keep my head out of email first thing in the morning. I don't normally like to do that. I'll go through and clean and then I close it. And then probably 2 hours later, I'll get into my email. My golden rule is email will waste your time during the week. All right, so just be careful of that. And be careful about, like I said before, kids, family, friends, business, work. You need to figure out how you're going to balance and integrate that. Because if you want to achieve X, which is going to require time and study and education, like education is really critical. You got to learn things if you want to side hustle and make some money. Think about that and think about time as a commodity. It's been given to you, respect it, because it's all you have. You don't have anything else. So think of it as your most valuable commodity. Put everything down on paper and then categorize it into your professional life, your personal life, And then use those categories of, income generating job, kids, family, friends. And then have a think about that, what that looks like. Because people don't do that, and they should. It may seem very simple, but I don't meet too many people who actually think about their life and their time like that. They just normally say, oh, I just want to be happy. Oh, that's ridiculous. You don't even know what that means, do you? Like, they just don't. So once you figure out some of those personal goals for yourself, I think maybe all of that stuff sort of comes together. All right, so that's my take on it. I hope that helped. Hey, thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. Again, if you want to help us out, we'd love for you to subscribe, hit the bell as well, so you can get notifications. I really appreciate you watching today, and yeah, look forward to speaking next time. Cheers.